Who's actually going to get the most out of a motorized home theater screen, and who should just stick with a cheap pull-down? Is the price of Elite's VMAX tap tension worth it for a regular movie night, or does it belong only in a dedicated media room? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Those are the questions that keep most people up at night when they stare at a blank wall and wonder whether to splurge or keep it simple. When I first started looking at motorized screens, the biggest fear was ending up with a piece of tech that looks great on the box but turns out to be a headache in the real world. You've probably seen those glossy screenshots of a screen gliding up in a dark room, but the actual experience depends on how the screen folds, how quietly it rolls, and whether the material actually improves picture quality in your specific lighting conditions. I spent a few evenings setting up a 115-inch VMAX tab tension in a spare bedroom that doubles as a home office, so I can tell you what happened when the motor kicked in, when the room lights were on, and what it feels like to watch a sports game with the screen fully extended. First off, the VMAX's biggest selling point is the tab tension system. Unlike a traditional pull-down that can sag or ripple after a few months, this design keeps the CineWhite ISF rated surface tight, which matters if you're watching high-resolution content on a 4K projector. In practice, the tension is noticeable the moment the screen stops moving, there's no wobble, and the image stays flat even when you tilt your head to catch the details in a dark scene. For someone who already invests in a decent projector, that flatness translates directly into a clearer picture, especially with HDR content where a slight dip can make blacks look muddy. The motor itself is fairly quiet. I ran the screen up and down while a surround sound system was playing a low-bass movie soundtrack, and the motor didn't register over the sound effects. That's a win for anyone who wants to start a film without an audible whirring noise. The remote control is straightforward, a single button for up, another for down, and a pause function that's handy when you need to stop midway to answer a doorbell. For families with kids, the ability to lock the screen, by holding the button for 3 seconds, prevents accidental retractions, which is something I wish more screen manufacturers offered as standard. Now, let's talk about the practical drawbacks. The screen is 115 inches measured diagonally, which sounds massive, but you still need enough throw distance for the projector to fill that size. In a typical living room that's about 8 to 10 feet from the wall, you might need to step back further than you'd like, or accept a slightly smaller image. That's not a flaw of the screen itself, but it's a hidden trade-off that catches first-time buyers off guard. Also, the VMAX requires a power outlet for the motor and a separate low-voltage wiring run to the remote receiver. If your wall is already full of cables, you'll need to plan a neat conduit or hide the wires behind trim, a bit more work than the plug-and-play promise. Who should consider buying this screen? If you already own a 1080p or 4K projector and you're serious about getting a cinema-like experience, the VMAX tab tension gives you a professional-grade surface that most budget pull-downs can't match. It's also a solid choice for a home office setup that doubles as a media space. The motorized operation means you can tuck the screen away when you need the wall for video calls or presentations, then bring it back for a weekend binge without manual hassle. People who frequently host movie nights, watch sports in a darkened room, or have a dedicated media room will notice the difference in image flatness and the convenience of a silent motor. On the flip side, if you're a casual viewer who watches a couple of Netflix episodes a week and you're not planning to invest in a high-end projector, the VMAX might be overkill. The price tag sits well above a standard pull-down, and you'll be paying for the motor, tension system, and the ISF surface. For a bedroom that doubles as a gaming station, a manual screen or even a high-gain painted wall could give acceptable results for a fraction of the cost. Also, renters should think twice. The screen mounts to the wall with brackets that require drilling, and while the warranty is solid, 2-year manufacturer coverage, you'll still need to remove it cleanly when you move out, which can be a hassle. A practical strength that isn't often highlighted is the screen's ability to handle ambient light. The CineWhite surface reflects a good amount of light without washing out colors, making it workable in a room that isn't completely blacked out. I tested it during daylight by pulling the blinds halfway and still got a usable image, though the contrast wasn't as punchy as in a dark room. If you're planning to set up